What's up, Elite Army? This is your kinda well, kinda toxic host, Sarah Rittendale, bringing you another episode of Wellish. I think building a safe environment is one of the most underrated, not talked about aspects of self-love. So much of the time, I see people trying to become the best version of themselves, but are surrounded or living in a toxic environment. They're not caring for themselves financially. They're not making sure that their space stays clean. They're constantly showing up in places that don't make them feel full or feel good or feel like they can be themselves. Now, I understand that it obviously isn't always feasible to just like up and ditch your living situation or up and quit your job. But honestly, is that an excuse? Like, I think a lot of the time I get that you can't just 180 make the switch, but you definitely need to become aware of it and work to improve it. And if you continue to just sit in the same environment that doesn't make you feel good, you're living with a person that's constantly putting you down, you are showing up at a job that doesn't appreciate you or value you, you are not going to be able to flourish in the way that you really could. And you are just going to keep making this excuse that you can't leave, when really you can do whatever you want if you actually really want to. Or you have to, find a different solution. Like, I mean, and this is what I mean. Like, if you are under the age of 18 and you're still living at your parents' house and your parents make you feel like shit, understand how it's not feasible to leave. Or if you are in a financial situation that you can't leave, but, work towards it. Put yourself in a situation that, the moment you turn 18, you can go and get an apartment. Start your hunt. Start applying to schools, that are not near your house. Look for other jobs. Start fixing your resume. Do things, make steps that are going to get you in the direction of moving towards a safer environment for your self-love. But if you have people in your life that don't make it a safe environment, that's a really big area that your self-love is impacted by. If you have friends, a significant other, family members that consistently make you feel like shit or make you feel that you can't love yourself to the fullest extent, that's a problem. And you're going to have to find a way to remove those toxic people from your life, or at least lessen your exposure to them. Lessening your exposure to them too doesn't just look like spending less time with them. Obviously, that is the number one way to do that, but it's also, not feeding into their bullshit as much. If they're people that you don't have to have around, like, you don't have to have your significant other around. If you have a significant other that makes you feel like fucking shit, leave. Find a way to leave. Stop settling for a relationship. If you listened to the episode with the relationship expert, she talks about how you can bend and twist and move to make any relationship work. There's so much free will in a relationship, but how much of that are you willing to do? How much of yourself are you willing to sacrifice? And you're never really going to reach this full level of self-love if that is what you're doing. Same thing with a friendship. You don't have to have those people in your life. You could bend to make it work, but do you actually want to do that? Family, it is the same. Just because they're your family, you do not have to keep them around if they don't make you feel good. But I understand from a very, very personal place that that's much, much, much harder than any of the other relationship aspects. So I get, how that wouldn't be hard, but then that means that you give less of yourself to them, Don't feed into their bullshit. Like, if they are somebody that makes you feel bad, don't sit there and try to prove yourself to them. Don't sit there and try to make them understand you. Don't sit there and ask them questions and set yourself up for them to disappoint you. You have to just accept it for what it is, take a step back, and find a way to not let their opinion weigh so heavy on you. When you're constantly around these people, it's not a safe environment for your self-love to really flourish and reach its full potential in the way that it actually could. even though self-love is so internal and it's absolutely something that you have to do inside of you and that you have to work through by yourself, and no external circumstance is going to help you love yourself more, it absolutely contributes to it. Like, let's not be blind. And I know a lot of self-improvement talks about that they say that it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing, you are able to love yourself. And I mean, it is true. Like, you really, if you want to work through it and just keep it in your life, like, it is true that you really could love yourself, but you're not going to love yourself, like I've said 100 times now, the way that you fully could if you constantly have bullshit in your ear. If you have people in your life that are, accepting you for who you are and pointing out your strengths to you and actively listening to you and making you feel important and respecting you as a person, those qualities are going to uplift you and make you feel good and empower you. And if they're not doing that and they're talking down to you, or they're talking shit to you, or they're putting you down, or they're making you feel like you can't be yourself, or they're not allowing you to be authentic, that it's going to be a lot harder to reach this level of self-love as you're trying to sift through the bullshit at the same time. External influences impact the way that we feel about ourselves. We try to not let it. And we know at the end of the day who we are. And that is a very real thing. They don't determine who they are, external influences, but they do play a huge role in the way that we feel about ourselves and the way that we perceive the world. And we can't keep sitting here pretending like that's not the truth. It just is what it is. So let's work with what it is and try to create an external environment that's going to help our self-love grow instead of not doing that. If you fucking put a seed for a tree in nice, rich soil, it's going to grow. But if you put it in a place that it's not meant to grow, maybe it'll sprout, but it's not going to fucking grow. It's not going to be what it can fully. Wait, I have a better example. You put the seed in the same dirt as, the toxic, not safe environment seed and the safe environment, good for your self-love seed. Put those in the same fucking rich dirt. But one of them, it grows with fucking windstorms and hurricanes and earthquakes and tornadoes, and it's got fucking animals chewing on it and bugs festering it. And the other one's just like growing, and everybody that comes by it appreciates it. Birds are sitting in the tree branches and using it to make nests to grow their families. And you've got people laying underneath it, using its shade to make them feel good. You get what I'm trying to say. Obviously, the tree that's taken care of is going to do much better than a tree that is not taken care of and is getting beat on constantly. The tree will still grow, but how's that really working out for you? How's that gonna look? It's the same thing if we're showing up to something that we fucking hate every day. Like my school example that I gave in one of the episodes in the last couple days. I can't remember which one it was, but that if you are going to school and you have this like underlying value of completing your education, getting a degree, you have a value of having a specific career that requires you to have a diploma in order to get that job, you're going to have to push through it because you're working towards a goal, something that matters to you, even though you might be uncomfortable. But if you're going there and you fucking hate it, you are doing it because somebody else told you that you had to, because you're feeling like it's something you should do, if you're trying to fit a round peg into a square hole, it's not creating a safe environment for your mental well-being. If you keep going to the bar every weekend because you think, well, I'm in my 20s and this is what people in their 20s do, or this is what all my friends are doing and this is the only way that I'm going to be able to socially interact, but you fucking hate it every single time you go, you're not putting yourself in a safe environment for your mental health and for your self-love to grow. Because you're doing something you don't like. You're constantly putting yourself in an environment that you don't like. And that's the thing. Like, I don't mean unsafe in a like physically unsafe way. However, that is definitely true. It's going to be a lot harder to grow your self-love in a physically unsafe environment for sure. But I just mean unsafe in the sense of like, it's not a good, whole, loving place for you to grow your self-love. A safe environment is a place that creates the necessary conditions for your healing and your growth and your self-discovery. You're allowed to express your thoughts and opinions without fear of being judged or criticized. You can be vulnerable and not feel like you're going to get shit on or just made to feel uncomfortable. Even if somebody's like not being a dick to you, like if somebody just makes you feel uncomfortable when you do get vulnerable or are honest with them, they make you feel like you can't talk to them or be around them, then that isn't a safe environment for your self-love. Like I was talking about earlier too, like physical safety is a really big thing, but I even mean just like physical safety in the sense of you just being able to like relax and calm down. Like, do you feel tense all the time? Do you feel your tongue always on the roof of your mouth? Your shoulders are clenched, your jaw is clenched. Like, are you always in a space of anxiety and you're, afraid to say something? You feel like you're walking on eggshells. You don't know when somebody's going to fucking say some fuck shit. That is also not a safe place for your self-love to grow. A safe environment respects your boundaries and your autonomy. You're able to say what you want and what you don't want and not feel like you're going to get fucking attacked for it. Being able to set your limits and assert your needs and prioritize your well-being when you want to is going to help you build your self-esteem and your confidence and being able to authentically show up as yourself. And if somebody is making you feel that you can't do that, it's not a safe environment. I'm just going to keep fucking repeating myself until you get it. Your relationships should involve validation and encouragement and empathy, and you should be able to feel a sense of self-worth from the people in your life, that they recognize you as a person and appreciate you for who you are. You should feel a sense of belonging. You shouldn't feel like out of place or like you don't fit in or like you have to do something in order to fit in. It should allow you to heal and grow, not hurt you further, not create more triggers, not create more wounds, not create more things for you to have to work through. It should be a place that you can grow and flourish and really be able to express yourself and explore yourself and experiment with new things and new behaviors and, just transforming into a new, improved, best version of yourself, not feeling like you have to fit into a certain box because that's who you've always been. And if you start to act a certain way, that people are going to be like, oh, who's this girl? Who's this guy? Like, what's this? You think you're a big dog now because you got a new promotion at work and you think that like you're a hot shot, like putting you down, like making you feel like you're not allowed to grow and expand. Overall, and obviously at the end of this conversation, creating a safe environment for yourself is essential for fostering your self-love. As a recap, a safe environment is a place that you feel safe to express yourself, that you can authentically be yourself, and you can grow as a person. It's being in a space that allows you to thrive and flourish in all areas of your life. Thank you so much for listening to day 17 of the 28 Days of Self-Love. Make sure to subscribe to the show to come back for tomorrow, where we're going to be talking about comparison, the killer of all happinesses. And I promise you, I'm not going to tell you, don't compare yourself to other people. I have a cute little fun hack that you can use when you automatically start comparing yourself to people, because it really is just like this automatic habit that we have. And while we're working on the habit to, not do that so much, I have something that will help you feel better, that you can actually use the comparison to your advantage. Tune in tomorrow to hear that. Thank you again so much for listening. Make sure your day kicks ass. Don't forget you're elite as fuck. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow about comparison.